I'm Michael Hellickson. This is Club Wealth TV. We're talking today about selecting the best video topics for your database. Now, this is a big deal, right? Like people just don't always know, what should I talk about? What should I share? What topics is my database going to be most interested in? And so I brought on to Club Wealth TV today with me, Mr. Frank Klesitz of Vyral Marketing. Now, I got to just give you a shout out, Frank, before we get rolling here. And don't let me forget, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor. But I got to tell you, there's a lot of people that talk a great game on video, and there's a lot of people that share stuff that gets engagement from agents. But here's the reality. The reality is what stuff that agents is going to post actually gets engagements from their database. What are you going to do that's going to move the needle for you? And I can tell you that one of the things that's really nice about Frank is he's extremely consistent, and his stuff works very consistently. And I can tell you that from experience because Frank is very involved in the marketing that we do here at Club Wealth. And so Frank, before you walk us through this, I just want to share our sponsor for Club Wealth TV is WiseHire. WiseHire is a great organization. They do a great job for us. They help us in our recruiting. They essentially syndicate our ads out to a bunch of different places. We get them through www.clubwealth.com/WiseHire. Clubwealth.com/WiseHire.
We're WiseHire customers too.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
I love those guys.
They do a great job.
Great job. Yeah. And they're super affordable, very consistent, right? Like I like to put things on autopilot. I like things that can be just, you set it and you forget it and it just works all the time. And then you can move on to the next thing that you need to be implementing in your business. So, but Frank, talk to us about video, man. If we're going to market to our database, if we're going to be doing videos for our database, what are the topics we should be talking about?
Yeah. It's like the biggest fear. What do I even say? You go to any real estate training and the mantra of the industry is relationships. I got to build my database of past clients and centers of influence, which is nothing more than a spreadsheet really, entered in maybe to a CRM of names, addresses, emails, and phone numbers. And great, I need to stay in touch with these people. Well, what do I do? Where do I go from there? I understand the benefit of that, but what do I even send? And kind of on the low end and the easy side is there's a lot of pre-written material. There's lots of pre-written newsletters, lots of pre-written emails you can send out, but the material is pretty washed down because it has to apply to like the entire market, of everyone. And on top of that, it doesn't, I'd probably say a couple of years ago to get engagement, but like people are just so inundated online with messages, like it really needs to kind of show up as a little bit unique, a little more relevant. So now it's like, okay, well, I got to create something unique and relevant to sound on my list. I'm like, okay, well, should I write it? Should I do audio? Should I do video? And my argument for video would be, you won't get people to know who you are. That's really the biggest thing is, the content doesn't have to be like super strong, like you're doing some research paper here. Actually more important is that you've come across authentic in yourself on video. So people just get to know and see you and get to know you and like you and maybe trust you and kind of like get to know that individual. And then from there, it's a matter of what do you say, which is where we lead up to where the conversation is today. So here's my best piece of advice for everyone listening. When you're trying to figure out, okay, I got to make a video. I want to get on video because that's how people get to know me. I got to stay in touch. I got to send out stuff, put it on Facebook, put it on the email, social media, whatever it is. The best video topic is question and answer. All right. This is what
by the way, that's not surprising at all.
Yeah. So I want to dive deep into that. So hopefully when I said that, hopefully it relaxes you because, well, for a lot of reasons. So we've been doing this at Vyral for 10 years and thousands of people with different video topics and headlines and what to come up with. And there's a lot of benefits of going with a question and answer style to kind of focus of a video topic. First is it keeps you very grounded in the market. That's probably the most important thing. A lot of times when you're doing deals and you're going to conferences, you start kind of like coming up with content that's kind of like what you think people want or what you kind of like what you want to talk about, but doesn't necessarily match what the market wants. So when you're prospecting and you're talking on the phones to people, you're at open houses, you're talking to consumers, you're hearing kind of the market of the moment, the concerns people are having, which can shift very quickly, Michael, right?
It changes all the time.
Yeah.
Depends on, if there's an election happening, if there's a
Yeah.
catastrophe, if there's some crazy event going on, if the market shifts. I mean, it's all kinds of crazy stuff.
Like I think right now is will the resurgence of is that the right word? Will the resurgence of COVID slow home price gains or affect home prices? Because they've been taken off over the summer, something like that, right? That's kind of what's in the news at the moment. Also, for those very concerned with COVID for their home, a big question is, how do I sell my home for full market value without people walking through it? Coughing and sneezing on my pillows or something like that, right? So the best topics to send out, and so let me give you okay, so Frank, all right, I get it. Answer questions people are asking me, like, well, how do I even come up with the question? Well, pull up your email, go to your sent folder, all right? And you just scroll through your sent folder, and pretty much anyone listening to this could find some questions people are asking. And what's really nice about the emails you're sending, there's also a little probably story behind it. So when it comes time to tell your video, kind of the way that you go about the video topic is, hey, I was talking to a buyer, I was talking to a seller, I was talking to somebody, and they asked me kind of this question, and here was a situation around the question. And I figured it would be good for me to share the answer with you too, so I made this video, and here's my answer. Like that. So that's a really easy way. And what's nice about that is it keeps going on forever. Always answered a bunch of different questions. It keeps things very timely. So go back through your Gmail, Outlook, whatever it is, pretty much the 2 emails everyone uses these days. Michael, you ever get anyone from an AOL email address?
Oh boy, let me tell you, just the other day, I mean, this is probably, 30 days ago, I posted in the Facebook group. How do you respond to someone that emails you?
Oh, that's funny.
AOL? Dude, I got lit up. People were so mad that I would call into question if somebody still uses Hotmail.
It's a political thing.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. It was like, whoa, I got bombarded, man.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And by the way, really quick, I want to know, what email do you guys use? I want to know, if the people watching right now, just type in Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, Outlook. What do you use for email? I'm curious. I personally use Outlook, as does everybody at my company, because, it's one of those, 2020 things. But I'm curious if anybody here is still using AOL or knows anybody who is. And if you are, don't be offended. My gosh, take a chill pill. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right. There's no need to get offended. There's so many people out there that get offended about everything. It's just crazy to me. I just love to laugh about it. It's like, I post stuff in the group all the time just to kind of get comments happening, just to get engagement happening. And man, I got to tell you, it's crazy the silly things people get super upset about, things that they have no control over and that really don't make a big difference in the grand scheme of things. So I'm looking at, man, pretty much everybody that I'm seeing type in here is using Gmail. Look at that.
Or it's a domain and they're using like G Suite.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yep. That's cool. Wow. Good for you guys. Okay. A lot of Gmail out there. So, but by the way, let's just back up just a step here, because I want to know how many of you are emailing your clients on a regular basis. And I'm talking not about your drip campaigns, but how many of you are sending a broadcast email to your database, your sphere of influence on a regular basis? Just type in I broadcast in there, just so I know. I'm really curious how many of you are doing that. And if you're not, type in I do not broadcast to my database. Again, this will help us to kind of tailor what we're talking about for you guys. And are you also type into and I'm talking, when I say type it into your screen, I'm talking about on the Facebook feed here. And I see Coach Chelsea Dellick's in here, and I got Dave Woodson, and we got Mariah Zuniga. Hey, how are you, Mariah? And Lauren, Patrick Talley. Got a lot of you in here. Marv Nicholson's in there. So I want you to type this in, guys. Are you broadcast emailing your database, or are you sending any other broadcast messaging out via text message, via email? I really want to know what you guys are doing. So type that into the Facebook feed. Go ahead, Frank.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a 90s kid, man. I remember the AOL CDs like every single day, Oh,
so, that's right. I forgot about the CDs. Oh my gosh. Get a free AOL account. Here's your CD. I totally remember that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
We are so old.
Yeah. I remember that.
That's funny.
So when it comes to topics, you have your question. Q&A is the way to go. All right. So the best way is to go through your past emails. This is really good for your coaches too, Michael. Go through your past emails and what questions are people asking, and you look at your email account. The other thing you can do too is to go on your calendar.
go on your calendar for the last week or two, look at all your appointments. And it's a very, very quick memory jogger to help figure out like, oh yeah, that's a good story. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I could talk about that. That's a question that came up. That's something that could be helpful. All right. And when it comes to the titling of your video, when it comes to, how to put the video together, just title the video exactly what the question is. This has been a popular thing for a while, especially Gary Vaynerchuk did a whole Q&A blog, and then he made a video of Q&A. Q&A is a very sustainable form of content creation, because you can only make like a how to stage your home, or how to sell your home, or how to buy a home so many times. But when you go a Q&A route, it's a very sustainable thing that will carry you on for years. Okay. So that's the first thing. I have a couple things. So the very first thing is,
hold on, before you go past that though, let me touch on that, because in the group, if you guys notice, I post at least once a day, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm making sure I post twice a day in our Facebook group, right? And our engagement, I've been doing this for about 60 days, and our engagement right now is up by 75% in the last 60 days. That's insane.
Good for you.
Yeah, I was very excited about it. And so first and foremost, the consistency is really important, right? But now the other thing that I'm doing that's, I think, working very, very well is every single one of my posts is written in the form of a question. It's like I'm playing Jeopardy with the group, right? It's everything's like, or I should say I'm answering Jeopardy, or whatever, but it's literally every single thing ends in a question mark. And that has made a big difference for engagement. And you guys, you're in the engagement game. You need to engage people. You need to get them to engage with you so that they'll feel more a part of the culture that you're creating for your company and for your database. So Frank, I completely agree. I think asking questions is huge. And not only that, but when you ask questions, the answers may surprise you, and they'll give you the stuff that they want to hear about. And then when you listen to that and you deliver that, oh my gosh, all of a sudden you're the hero.
Yes. And to piggyback on that, that's the very next topic idea. All right. Is entering the conversation already going on in someone's mind. What are people thinking about? What's on their mind? What questions care about them? So the first thing is Q&A. All right. Hey, there's this question I was asked. Here's a story behind it. I want to share it with you. Great, awesome, sustainable topic strategy to go with your videos to your database for your content. I'll give you a second one. Frank, I can't think of any questions. No one asks me ever anything. Okay. Well, let's move on to another option to make your life a little bit easier for content creation. The second one is a news story. All right. So providing some type of local insight or local commentary on generally a national news story from a reputable source. All right. So for example, you can go to Google News. All right. For the sake of simplicity with our screen sharing here, we're not going to tackle that right now, but go to Google News. All right. And just type in the search bar on Google News, housing prices or housing. All right. And you're going to get a list of across all news sources, everything has to do with housing. All right. So for example, Wall Street Journal, September 21st, headline, it can cost $750,000 to build an affordable housing unit in California. Here's why. Mortgage interest tax break has no effect on home ownership. New houses get smaller as first-time buyers move into the market. Why the home ownership rate isn't likely to take off anytime soon. What the rise of Phoenix housing market says about the U.S. economy after hitting 51-year lows. Yeah, you guys kind of get it, right? So you can find these national news stories. They're in the press. They're showing up on everyone's iPhone news feeds. What's going on, right? And send it out to your database with a little bit of local commentary, how it relates to you, what's going on. Here's how the topic goes. Hey, you probably saw this story. It was titled this. It was put up by the Times, Journal Post, whatever, some type of reputable source. All right. And basically what they're arguing here, what they're saying is these are some of the trends that we're seeing nationally. And you either just agree with it or disagree with it. And yes, we're 100% seeing this here in San Diego. In fact, here in San Diego, we've had this, that really speaks to this article. And here's what this means for the market and what it means at large. I just wanted to pass it along to you. Or you could say, what you see in the national market isn't necessarily what's happening here in Des Moines, Iowa. A little bit different here in Des Moines, Iowa. Actually, what we're seeing here is this, this, and this. Fair enough? And you pass that along. And what's nice is, it immediately gives you something to talk about because the journalists have already figured out the topic. And you're
What's hot right then.
Yeah, they call it news. They call it news jacking. So you type in news jacking and kind of like borrow like what's hot in the news and just send it out to your list. It's a really easy way to keep something relevant going to your database. So Q&A and then passing along something in the news.
That's actually really interesting. So let me ask you, so as you guys are watching this, I want you, those of you that are watching live right now, or those of you that watch it recorded, type into the chat here or into the Facebook feed, what are some questions that we can ask our database, right? What are some topics that are hot right now? What are some questions?
Yeah,
you
what
feel like
are
we can-
questions our database would be asking us?
Correct. Or yeah, well, that's right. What questions would they be asking us? But how can we get them to do that, right? I mean, we need to reach out to them to get them to ask us questions, right? Or we need to, and Frank, I don't know how you feel about this, but a lot of times what we'll do is we'll post something, even if there's not necessarily a question from a client recently on a particular topic, you could easily go in and you could say, agent asks, or new home buyer asks, colon, and then whatever your question is, right? And you could start talking about that. So, and then you send that to your home buyers list, and then you do the same thing for your home sellers list. But I'm curious, Frank, what are some questions that you feel, or topics that you feel have been hot recently, that we can use to just get some engagement out of our database?
Yeah. Have increased home prices negated the effect of low rates? That's a really good one.
And so give us a response. How would you respond to us? So you're creating an email, and I'm assuming that's going to be in the subject line, right? The question would be the subject line.
Yeah. Question could be the subject line. Just increase. I would probably, the subject line would be increasing prices and low rates, increasing prices with low rates, something kind of short. Okay. But then when you open the email, there's a title there, there's a headline, which would be the question. So it'd be the question, Q, semicolon, whatever the question is in the headline. And in this case, it would be have increased home prices offset the benefit of record low interest rates. That probably nails it, right? You have to put a little thought into that. And then I'd say click here to find out, right? Now, for the answer for that, where that came from a news item. So I go look at the news and figure out that's actually a news topic. So I'd say, hey, I think sources much smarter than me figured this out, because I don't know if I want to do those calculations. Okay. But the answer is yes. Redfin actually says yes in many of the markets. Where the increase of the home prices versus the benefit of low rates, they actually said, yeah, it's pretty much broken even at this point with the increase.
Okay, so it is crazy actually, but let me ask you this. So in the email itself, are we doing plain text, and then are we simply?
That's a good question.
So it's two-part question. So one is, are we doing plain text? Two is, are we then not giving the answer in the email, but sending them to our website where they will see it? And I'm assuming that the reason for that is we want to repixel them so that now they're, firing that pixel, which means the next 180 days they're going to get targeted.
100%. Yeah, the email that goes out is a screenshot of your video. So it has a nice little thumbnail of your video. It has the headline, and then it has about maybe a couple sentences of teaser copy. Teaser copy is a advertising term for hey, here's this problem. Here's what's going on. It raises these questions. I have the answer for you. Click here to find out. Something like that. And that short little hook goes out to your list. People will open it, and you still get the branding effect. Like, here you are, I'm a realtor, I'm making videos. I mean, they still get the impression, which is good. And you'd be surprised. You get a lot of responses. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many people are like, oh, I've been watching your videos. And I go back and look, you haven't clicked on a single thing, but they've opened the emails. So they've been watching your videos. Right.
Well, and not only that, but you just nailed it. Even if they don't click on the link, at least they're getting you, right? They're seeing you, they're getting another touch from you. And if they do click on the link, not only does that allow you to retarget them, right? Because now they've been driven to your website and are firing the pixel, but also you're increasing your click-through rate on your emails, which reduces the chances that you're going to get labeled as a spam sender.
Yeah. And then further in the email, we'll put in there, hey, you want to search all homes for sale with pictures, basically the same copy that you would use on a pay-per-click ad.
Okay, so hold on. So you're doing multiple calls to action in the same email.
Yeah, so there's a big one. Okay. And again, not to complicate screen sharing here, but you'd have here's my latest video. Here's something helpful at the top of the email. Click here. But then down below, there's a couple little, oh, by the way, if you think about buying a house, you can search all homes for sale, just like realtors do on the MLS with pictures and yada, yada, click here. And then the other one would be hey, home prices are up. What's your home worth? Want to find out. click here to find out. Some people will run an instant offer campaign too. That's pretty hot now. Hey, just want to skip the whole thing and just want an offer. You want a lowball offer right now? Click here, I'll give you one. Doesn't say exactly that, but we all know what that is, right? So, click here and find out now. And what's nice is like every time an email goes out, yeah, you get people opening it. That's the majority. Well, actually, the majority is not opening it. Then maybe if you're lucky, 20 to 30% of your database actually opens an email. That's just how you.
And that's a great open rate, right? 20 to 30. Okay, keep going.
Yep. Then maybe if you're lucky, 5% click through to watch the video. And then you'll have a couple of stragglers that end up clicking the call to action links. And here's the deal. That's the purpose of marketing. The purpose of marketing is separate the interest from the non-interested. That's what it does.
Yep.
So yeah, you get the brand, you get the impressions. That's all great where people magically, hopefully find you someday and call you. But what's cool with email is you can get all the stats of who's opening and clicking the stuff. And what's nice is there's integrations we can set up depending upon your CRM that would, when somebody clicks one of those links, it fires off a trigger to your inside sales assistant or somebody on your team just to kind of follow up. And the script is it's light. It's just, hey, I'm reaching out on behalf of so-and-so, and I see you subscribe to our updates that we send out from time to time. I just want to know if you have any questions we can answer about real estate, or have you considered refinancing your house, or are you thinking about moving anytime soon?
Super low key, and very, very helpful. So let me ask this. Talk to me for a second about frequency of email delivery. How often do we want to be sending emails to our list? Because I think there's, back in the day, we heard, oh, you got to send every day. The more you send, the less likely to subscribe. Then it was.
That's a lot.
Right. I mean, and so where's that sweet spot?
Well, let's first think about the list. So when you, at least at Vyral, what we do, Vyral is your, kind of your, if you think in terms of think in terms of layers, your bottom catch-all net layer is your nurture campaign. In the space in real estate, you'll call it a 33 touch or a 36 touch. It was popularized in the Billionaire Real Estate Agent book by Gary Keller. And the idea is to, 2 to 3 times a month, you got to be in front of people with something arguably helpful and useful now, not just like, here's my picture on a recipe card. All right.
You mean those don't work? What? Right, you're giving me recipe cards.
There's better things now that deliver more value.
Oh my God.
But I still tell you, football schedules kill it. I don't know what it is, man, but at least in the Midwest, man, put your stuff on a football schedule. That thing is just on the refrigerator.
There's no question.
That's one thing you can still do.
And you know what else is funny? And this is going to sound cliche, but the calendars actually, whether it's a football schedule or just an annual calendar. You have staying power. And it's old school. I know it's super old school, but you'd be surprised how many people hang that on their fridge or on their wall. So anyway, but that being said, so the frequency you're suggesting is?
Well, so I'll get to that. So I want you to imagine you have all your buyer leads, you have all your seller leads. And by seller leads, I mean like maybe people that opted in to find out what their home is worth. All right. You have all the people that opted in to search for homes. You rounded up all your past clients. You rounded up all your centers. And basically, you grabbed every email you get your hands on. All right. Clean them up, scrub them. There's your list. It's all in there. Now, let's understand what fractions of this list are already getting. So all the people that opt into your buyer site are getting buyer drips. So they're getting updates of like different changes of the home search criteria and updates of homes. They're already getting those. You have people that have maybe used some type of free home value report tool. This is very common in the industry to put your address in to maybe find out what your home is worth. And they're all probably getting some type of monthly email update on an update of the value of their house. Got it? Mm-hmm. In addition to that, you may not even know, but your CRM might be firing out other things. That's the case for most people. So already know that there's already stuff going to a good number of these individuals and they're all in one.
So they're getting quite a bit to begin with.
Yeah. So just you got to kind of keep that in context. So all we're trying to do now is send out stuff where they know you exist and there's a relationship with you, because all that stuff doesn't build a relationship with you or position you as any expert. This is where the videos come in. Mm-hmm. So we recommend 2 emails a month. Mm-hmm. That's it. 1st and 15th of each month. Simple, helpful, answering commonly asked questions, sharing some insight to a news story, giving a market update. I mean, we can keep going on. Interviewing a business owner of what's going on in the community. There's a whole bunch of different ideas, but I gave you the main 2 you can start with. All right. 2 emails a month separate. Got it? Those same videos are posted to social media. Mm-hmm. Now, no one's really going to see them unless you put a little money into them. So we recommend putting maybe $5 or $10 into a boost, which would go to your database and your website traffic and really warm audiences without going into the nuances of that. All right. But even at this point, Michael, even with just 2 emails a month and posting on social media, you'll be lucky to reach, 30, 40% of your list.
you're just not going to hit everyone digitally. It ain't going to happen. I mean, I can show you the numbers. All right. This is why on top of the 2 videos a month, on top of the 2 emails a month, and it's really kind of crazy. You would think the testimonials at Vyral for clients would come back saying, "Oh my gosh, Frank, your videos and social media, like, it's killing it for me." It's really not even that. It's this thing. It's sending a letter once a month to your best contacts. You know, so
snail mail, hard copy.
Yeah, we've integrated direct mail only because reach on phone is going down with like contact rates, like when you're making calls en masse, all right? And just generally reach digitally is getting very, very, very crowded. So if you have your best contacts, let's say like your hottest leads or your best people who have actually referred you, maybe a couple hundred people, say 250 people, mail them a letter. And you basically take what you talked about maybe that month for your videos, put it in a letter form, mail it out. That's something we do at Vyral, but that it's another media, another way of hitting your database when the digital channels, you have to be there, but are generally crowded.
All right, I got to jump on this real quick. I want you guys to type into your screen, are you using any form of snail mail, whether it's personal notes, whether it's, you know, en masse direct mail? Are you doing a letter to your list? Are you sending a Christmas card out? Are you doing any kind of direct mailing campaigns or mailing at all to your database? I'm curious. And so if you are, just type it into the comments here on the Facebook feed. But it's really going to be interesting to see who is, because I'll tell you, Frank, I am a believer in mail.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I'm a believer that you got to hit them with land, air, and sea. Right. So I want to hit them by mail. I want to hit them digitally. I want to make the phone calls. I want everything. I want them to see me everywhere they go. I want them to see my brand. I want them to experience us. I want them to know we care. And I want it to be relevant and not just noise. Right.
Yeah.
And so
notice I said a personal letter.
Yep.
You want to send like a personal letter to your database once a month.
So tell us what that looks like. I see Dave Woodson and Marv Nicholson are both sending out mail. Mariah is sending out mail. She's so talk to us. What when you say
if you can for Zoom, you got to turn the screen sharing on. So go down to your security settings.
I got you.
I'll show everyone. Michael, you got this, man. We were struggling on Zoom earlier. I was giving a hard time.
Gosh, it's just been that kind of week. I don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, it's turned on to host only. I don't know why. Okay, go ahead. You should be good to share.
Good to go. All right, here you go. So here's kind of an example of a letter that performs pretty well. All right. So just like that. So there's lots of styles of direct mail. I mean, you have glitzy postcards, you have newsletters, and all those have their place. But I wanted to give you a 10,000 foot view of what it looks like, and I'll zoom in now. But a personal letter, 14, 15 point font, Times New Roman, very easy to read, 1 or 2 sentences per line, so it's not too much to consume. And just basically writing your friends and clients a letter from your friend Jeremy in this case. And you see how he says, I'm asked all the time, are home prices dropping due to the dip in the economy and COVID fears? The answer is no, not at all. If anything, they're rising. This was right when COVID hit, right? And he mails this out. And this is actually one of the things he gets one of the most comments on.
This is the letters that he sends out?
Yeah, this is a general once a month. And this goes to maybe about 250 people.
Okay, so
to your top contacts.
Is it always real estate related, or is it sometimes just, hey, this is what's going on with my family? This is,
Yeah. So what I recommend is generally in the very beginning, some type of market update and interpretation of the market. So, hey, obviously I'm in real estate. Here's just what's going on real quick. All right, that's like the top. Then I get into, hey, here's a question I'm getting asked a lot. Here's just a really quick question that I'm asked with my quick, you only have a couple sentences here. Quick insight, And then, by the way, on a personal note, here's what's going on in my life. Right there.
Love it.
Finally, if you ever need me, be clear. Don't be ambiguous. Like, I want to help. I need to make a living. So I'm here. If you help buy or sell a house, call me. Right. That's it.
I like this. I think that's a great letter. Honestly, I really do. And it's interesting. We used to do a newsletter every month, and I'm a huge believer in the right kind of newsletter. I don't like the, the big, all professional, financial news stuff. Like that's not my forte. I'm not a big believer in those. I do love the ones where you've got, little contests that you run and where you mention your clients by name and you thank your clients for referring people to you, and you show, what the homes you've sold recently and buyers that you might be helping find a home right now, and a little bit something personal. But I love what you're doing here. And really what you've done is you've taken a newsletter and you've really crammed it down into a letter.
Yeah, simple letter. It's just the easy way to streamline. I'd probably say after a letter, you kind of move into a 4-page newsletter.
Yep.
But
and
it's
you
really
just nailed it. 4 pages is about right for a newsletter.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And it doesn't have to be complicated, right? Black and white ink and black and white paper, or or even a colored paper, but it's just something very simple. Let me ask you this though. So you're only doing the 250. Are you recommending, and I would, and I think you probably agree with this, recommend that you do this for your A plus, and if you can afford it, your B clients as well. So A would be anybody that's done business with you or sent you a referral. A plus would be multiple clients, multiple referrals, or B would be someone that you are pretty sure if you taught them how and reminded them, they're going to refer to you at some point. So would you agree?
That's the list, 100%. And
Perfect.
It doesn't need to be very long. It's going to cost you roughly with mailing fees. If you do a first class letter, like I showed you, it gets to be about $1 a letter at 250. I think you get your most bang for your buck. Below 250, you probably get up to maybe $1.50 letter. When you start getting into the thousands, I think if you send like 10,000, just to throw the number out there, I think it gets down to like maybe 70 cents a letter.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're fine. Really, if you just focus on your A plus and B clients, then you're nailing it. And by the way, it looks like Coach Andy Contz is watching. Love you, Coach Andy. It's good to have you on. And you're right. It is simple and effective. So, all right, good stuff. So Frank, what else would you recommend? What else do we need?
Well, yeah, I mean, so the topic for today is how to pick really good topics for your database, and really discuss 2 things. We said, look, you need to kind of troll your sent emails for the week and take a look at all your appointments for the week, and figure out, okay, what situations came up, what problems did I have to solve, and what questions were people asking me, and then go create a video saying, hey, tell the story behind it. I was talking to a client, we discussed this came up, and so they asked me this question. I thought it would also be good to share it with you, so here is my answer. That you can run the rest of your life in that style. All right. Yep. And the second thing is, you're brain dead, can't think of anything today. That's fine. We all have those days. Go to Google News or go to some primary source of journalism. Just type in real estate, home prices, whatever it is, and you'll see what's going on in the news. That's the conversation going on in people's minds. It's what they're seeing. It's what's hot now. And share that article, pass along the link, and say, here's kind of my local analysis of it. Here's whether I agree with it or disagree with it, or here's what we're seeing here locally in this market based upon the argument that this article is making.
So I got to touch on this because I think it used to go without saying, but apparently not so much anymore, that we've got to be careful with some topics, particularly political topics. It seems like there's an awful lot of craziness out there right now. People getting upset over just anything, right?
Michael, we lost 3 clients one day because I sent out an email that was political I didn't know about. Let me tell you why. They were angry.
Dude, all right? I get it.
So so what happened was COVID hit.
Yep.
And the late night hosts, Kimmel and all those guys, they were all shooting their videos from home.
Yep.
And one of the arguments I made at Vyral for a long time was, you don't need to have a whole production studio here. Okay, like you're perfectly fine going in the corner of your home and shooting the video. Right. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, this is great. Here's these guys shooting their videos at home, and they're sitting in the corner, like literally on an iPhone doing like a full NBC show. I'm like, oh, I should share, like, hey, even the late night hosts are taking on like more personal video.
Right.
So I just go on YouTube and I pick a late night host and I put it in my email to show that example.
Oh no.
Right? Okay. Well, unbeknownst to me, I'm like I'm like a Letterman and Leno guy. I don't watch late night TV. It's gotten quite political.
Yes. Yes.
Unbeknownst to me. So I actually picked the worst one, apparently, all of them with political wise. It's Seth Meyers. So I sent the Seth Meyers video out as an example, and that was a bad idea. Even though I should have probably watched it.
And that's the thing. And you couldn't even at the time, you couldn't even said whether, what he was talking about or whether it was.
Didn't watch it. I was just commenting on he's shooting from home. It's late night host on NBC.
See, and this is the thing. And even if and this is where people get pretty uptight, but Michael, what if I have an opinion? Somebody's got to, stand for this thing or that candidate or this cause or whatever. And it's like, listen, I get that. But there's a point at which you've got to take a look at your business and you got to ask yourself, what do I want more? Do I want to be right or do I want to be rich? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't share what you believe in appropriate ways with the right people. What I am saying is that being too vocal about or too critical, or too vocal about what you believe in or too critical of others who believe differently than you is not productive to you, to them, or to your business. And frankly, you having greater reach serves your greater need and your causes that you believe in better than you not having as big a reach. And so if you want to have more reach, you've got to be more delicate about those topics. And this is
stick with real estate,
right?
Real estate news topics.
How many people love
news
actors and celebrities and sports stars comment on politics? Like, really? Like, do I really need to hear all those guys who really know nothing about politics comment on politics? They don't know anything more than my friends do. If I want to hear about somebody's opinion, I'll talk to my friends or I'll talk to other professionals that I believe, are a credible source that I can rely on. And so don't be that guy. Don't be that gal, right? Don't be the person that everybody's like, I want you to stick to real estate, because guess what? If they're saying that about you, you're getting out of rapport with them, and we want to stay in rapport. So very, very challenging to do that nowadays. But to your point, if we look at the news, find those things that are not politically charged and find ways to use those as great topics for your videos.
Here's a topic right now in the Wall Street Journal. U.S. home price growth picks up pace amid pandemic buying rush.
Now, somebody will turn that into a political commentary, right? Somebody out there could, there's always a way to twist that into something political. But what you want to do is you want to take it for what it is. Talk about the issue. Don't get into the politics around it. Talk about that issue and really focus on how can I use that issue to spur conversation or interest with my database. Dave Woodson says, great, you have an opinion. Keep it to yourself like I do. I love it. He's also saying, I wish I had time to be offended. And so you guys really be thinking hard about this. Make sure you're careful as to what you post out there. And I'll tell you, we've lost clients too over, it's funny. We've actually lost clients that thought that I felt one way when that wasn't the way I felt, and they got upset with me because, they'll get upset if you take a stand. They'll get upset if you don't take a stand. Right. So it's like, you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. But a phrase that I've heard frequently and that's always stuck with me is, it's better to be assumed a fool than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt. Right. So just be a little bit careful. You don't need to prove that they're right, that you're an idiot. Right. And I'm not saying you guys are idiots. I'm just saying that somebody will think you're an idiot, whether you are or not, just because you have a different opinion than they do. So that being said, I think the message today is pick great topics, be consistent, and hit them land, air, and sea. So I want to hit them with email, text, phone, snail mail. I want to be everywhere. I want to make sure I'm retargeting, and I want to be out there with positive messages. So Frank, anything else to add before we wrap up today?
I don't. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure having you on. So you guys take a look at, go to clubwealth.com/viral, clubwealth.com/VYRAL. That'll get you connected with Frank and his team over at Vyral. They're the marketing company that we work with. They help us out with a lot of our Facebook ads and those types of things, are the marketing that we do. And they got a great team down there. I'd recommend you give them a call, check them out. And in the meantime, if you aren't already, get into our Facebook group. You need to join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/clubwealth. And you need to get signed up for the Business Strategy Mastermind Conference. Frank was telling me earlier, he was commenting on how we were the first ones to do a virtual event.
It was really impressive, man.
Thank you.
I mean, I've been to a lot of events. 10 years of my life, I've been to events, and you're between a rock and a hard place. Your event was in April.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude,
I think it's April. Yeah.
Yeah. You have an event in 4 weeks and everything stops.
Yeah.
You have all the ticket sales, you have everything going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, we needed to do an event entirely online. And that had never been done before, ever. Even just 2 years ago, it was like, oh, should we live stream the event or not? Oh, this is cool. We're live streaming an event. Now it's like flipped. We're like, that's the default. I'm like, yeah, I guess you can come. in person now.
Well, the thing is
but you pulled it off, and it was surprisingly very smooth and well done. You hired the programmers, and kudos to you for that.
We've actually got 4 full-time coders now, and thank you for that, by the way. It's crazy. We went full force into it when people were turning and running and trying to, they were concerned, and they were cocooning up, if you will, and saving money every step of the way. We were saying, we need to attack this. We need to use this, we need to look for the opportunity in the chaos. And so we said, look, we're going to hire full-time coders. We're going to build a platform where we can do a real event live. It turns out it's pretty awesome. And now we've got organizations, all kinds of different associations of realtors are using it. Explode Conferences used it. We've got, you name it. We've had tons of organizations using our platform to host their events now. If you guys know of an organization that has an event they'd like to host and be able to do multiple breakouts simultaneously and all kinds of stuff like that, with video, live video, it's awesome. It's actually a great platform.
Big business now.
It is, right? Now, that being said, with Business Strategy Mastermind Conference coming up in November, what we've done is we know that people need to get back together, right? We need contact with other human beings. It's time. And now some of you are not feeling safe doing that yet, and that's okay. No judgment here. Those of you that are feeling safe, or are at least feeling safe enough to come, you need to come check out clubwealth.com/BSM. I'll type it into the chat here, into the Facebook feed. It's www.clubwealth.com/BSM. You guys, very seriously, we're going to host it online and in person. You need to be there. If you can get there in person, get there in person. We're going to take every precaution that can be taken. We're working really closely with the hotel staff. We've got our staff working on this. We're going to have temperature checks to get even into the conference section of the hotel. You're going to have to go through a station where everybody gets their temperature checked. And we're going to do that every day of the event to ensure that we're as safe as humanly possible. We're going to have masks, we're going to have sanitizer, we're going to have social distancing. We've gone to bigger room for the big ballroom. We've done a bigger room so we can do 1 person per table at 6-foot tables. So there's going to be plenty of spacing.
Wow. 1 person per table.
Dude, let me tell you.
I might come to that. See, I've been socially distancing my whole life. It's easy for me. I like that.
I'll tell you, it's right around you're going to be there anyway.
I know. I like my own table.
It's actually going to be really nice. Seriously, everybody's getting the VIP treatment is essentially what it comes down to. And yeah, it's more expensive for us to do it that way, but it makes sense. We take your safety very seriously, and ours as well, but we especially take our clients' safety really seriously. We want to make sure that, if you guys want to be closer and interact in the hallways, well, that's completely up to you. But in the actual classrooms and the event rooms, we're going to make sure that it's safe and it's got the spacing that you would like it to have. So it's gonna be a great event. clubwealth.com/BSM. Andy Kantz, Coach Andy, says it's going to be amazing. Plus, it will be better than South Dakota in November. And yes, Coach Andy, pretty much everything is better than South Dakota in November. Well, okay, maybe not Florida in September, October, November. Those are some tough months in Florida, but at least I can feel my fingers and toes in Florida. That South Dakota stuff, it's so cold there. Anyway, Dave's saying I will have to get up early to get the front table. Yes, you will, because there's only half as many seats in the front now as there usually are. So yeah, you'll have to get there early to get those. Anyway, Frank, anything you want to share before we wrap up today?
No. I appreciate it, Michael. Thanks for all you do for the industry.
Thanks for having me on, man. Or I should say, thanks for you being on Club Wealth TV with me today. I appreciate it. All right, man. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. We'll see you at Business Strategy Mastermind. Don't forget to reach out to Frank Klesitz. Take care.